Hawkey, to be followed by Gordon MacDonald.
Thank you, Presiding Officer. And first of all, I would also like to add my thanks to Mark Ruskell for bringing this very important debate to the Chamber today. It's also a pleasure to speak after my colleague Bill Kidd, who undoubtedly speaks with a greater authority than most on this subject. And as Bill Kidd made clear, we in the SNP are resolute in our position that nuclear weapons are abhorrent, they're financially unjustifiable, and they do not protect us against the modern threats we face today. These weapons of mass destruction have no place on our planet. They have no right to be housed in Scotland, and they should in no way be transported on our busy roads. A little under 3 years ago, my previous Rutherglen-Westminster colleague Margaret Ferrier held a debate on the transportation of nuclear weapons in the UK Parliament. As she outlined then from research conducted by Nuke Watch, nuclear warheads were transported through the Rutherglen constituency at least 3 times between January 2014 and January 2015. On these occasions, the weapons were moved in large convoys of around 20 vehicles travelling across the M74 through my constituency and then on to Glasgow city centre. Presiding Officer, trucks carrying nuclear material can be on our motorways or main roads at any time of the day or night, all without residents on the route ever knowing. Most recent figures collated by Nuke Watch show that the number of Trident warheads being transported to and from the Clyde has increased 5-fold between 2015 and 2016. And as such, it's very likely that nuclear weapons have continued to be moved within my constituency and at a more frequent rate than previously imagined. Members will be aware of the Ministry of Defence's document entitled Local Authority and Emergency Services Information, which outlines the many council areas across the UK which the nuclear convoys may travel through. This report names 21 of the 32 local authorities in Scotland, including South Lanarkshire, Glasgow City, Edinburgh City and North Lanarkshire. As Mark Ruskell's motion correctly points out, no information relating to an incident involving nuclear weapons is available to communities along the regular convoy route. It's frightening to think that if an incident does take place, then our authorities would be so poorly prepared to take swift action. We're incredibly lucky that in the 50 years nuclear weapons have been transported, no major incidents have occurred. However, there have been a number of near misses. For example, in 2007, several vehicles in a convoy were separated and became lost in the Stirling area due to heavy fog. It was reported that it took several hours for the convoy to regroup, and in that time, anything could have happened to their cargo. However, such problems aren't new. 30 years prior to this, in 1987, 2 vans, each driving with 2 nuclear warheads, came off the road after slipping on ice. Fortunately, the weapons were not damaged in this accident, but it took the authorities around 18 hours to recover the vehicles. These weapons should not be in transit in the first place, and especially not during challenging weather conditions. The Ministry of Defence themselves admitted in 2016 that in the 3 previous years, 43 safety incidents were reported to them. Accidents can and do happen, and the risk the UK Government continue to take is not a risk worth taking. Presiding Officer, in summing up, I wish to repeat the calls made by other members here today. The people of Scotland, Civic Scotland, the STUC, Scotland's churches, the Scottish Parliament and the majority of Scotland's MPs do not want to see the Trident nuclear weapon system renewed. If we want our constituencies to be clear of nuclear weapons, then I suggest we all urge the UK Government to scrap its nuclear obsession.